In the last video, we installed the NgRx libraries, set it up, and created the basic structure for our application, including an action and a reducer. In this video, we'll have a look at NgRx Store-Devtools, and we'll continue building our application and introducing some best practices, especially strongly typed actions. We already installed the Store-Devtools package in the previous video, but just for the information, this is the command to install it. All we need to do is import it in the app.module.ts file. So let's import the Store-Devtools module and add it to the imports array. Then we have to add the Redux DevTools extension to our browser. Once we've done that, we'll be able to inspect the store in the browser. As we can see in the Redux panel, we can track all the actions and the changes in the store. We can see the changes in the state, the whole state tree, and the actions being dispatched. We also have different options for the view, like the raw object and the chart. And we have the possibility to do time travel debugging. Now that we have that ready, let's continue with our application. We are going to define strongly typed actions and the reducer needed to load the customers. Let's start with the actions. We open the customer.actions.ts file and start declaring our actions there. First, we're going to import the action interface from NgRx Store to define the actions. Then, we're going to import the customer model. And we are going to list the valid action types using enum, a TypeScript type that allows us to define a set of constants. First, we define the load customers action, then the load customers success, and also the load customers fail action. Once we've done this, we're going to create the actions using action creators, which are classes with two properties. Type, that we specify as read-only, and the optional payload. Here, we can start using the customer action types we just created. This will allow us to use strongly typed actions in our application. Now that we have the first action creator, we're going to copy and paste it to create the other two. First, the load customer success action, and there we're going to add the property payload in the constructor of type customer array. And the load customers fail action with a payload of type string. And last, we define a type that unions all of the actions and we export it to make it available to the rest of the application. Now we can take advantage of strongly typed actions in our app. Let's create the reducer, but before we do that, we're going to create a state folder in our application. There, we're going to create an app state file and we're going to define an interface for the state of the application. This code is only an example. We're not going to define the state this way. That's how we will do it in a larger application, defining the slices of a state inside the app state interface. However, for a small application, we don't have a root app state, so we'll leave the app state as the following. Now we are going to build our reducer. First, we are going to delete this code from the previous example, and now we have to import the customer actions. Then we import the customer model and also the app state as from root. Then we export the customer state interface specifying the properties and the type for each property. Then we export the app state extending the root app state we previously created and adding the customer state to it. Now we export the initial state that is going to be of type customer state, and we are going to assign the default values. And the last thing we are going to do is declare and export the customer reducer function, which is going to take two arguments: the state with the default value of initial state and an action of type customer action. And it's going to return a customer state. As we said before, the reducer is a switch statement and it's going to return a different state based on the action type. So for the load customers action, it's going to return the current state and the loading true property. Then for the load customers success, it's going to return the current state with loading false, loaded true, and the customers from the action payload. And last, for the load customers fail, we are going to return the current state, for the customers, an empty array, a loading false, loaded false, and the error that we get from the action payload. Then we are going to add the default case returning the current state. And here we have a warning saying that the type of the payload is not assignable. So let's see in the customer actions. And here we're just going to specify the type customer array. Now, if we save it, everything should be fine. And with that in place, we can now create our first Angular effect. To fetch the data from the server, add the data to the store, and display it in the component. We're going to do that in the next video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash the like button if you like it, and share this course with any person that might be interested.